Originally, when I read the prompts for the kinesthetic awareness post, I initially immediately thought of my very first memory when I was about 3 or 4, just sitting on the front porch and just kind of curling down, looking down at my socks, and just kind of studying the movement and the color of the socks. They're like bright orange and red little flowers on my socks, and for some reason that just really stuck with me. And I remember from there, like, kind of like this dawning realization of, oh, these colors are so interesting, and then walking out towards the back lawn. But then as I listened to um, the lecture, and I thought about how aware was I of my body at that time, I don't think that it really like connected, other than, oh, like, these images are something that I can sense. And so I really started to think about, well, when was it that I started to feel an awareness of my body and felt like I could control, manipulate, and move and work with my body instead of kind of ignore it. And I realized that it actually took a very long time for me to not feel scared of my own body. That sounds a little bit extreme, but I was a very shy kid growing up, and so movement to me um, was kind of like attraction, or just seeking attention. And so I didn't want to seek attention. It scared me to be noticed. And so if I could be very contained and very still, that would be the ideal. Um, and I realized I don't think that it took me a long time to feel like my control of my body was my own. And the first time that I can physically remember feeling like the movement that I'm making has a direct impact on like what I'm doing, but also I get to control the pace, the fluidity, and the pressure of my movement. So when I was 14 or 15, I remember getting into my brother's Wii Fit board, and they had like a program to play yoga on it, or to not play yoga, but to practice yoga on it. And before this, PE and like other, even like the ballet class I took as a kid was like, it was like very scary to do. It was very scary to experience that kind of movement. But when I practiced yoga with the Wii Fit board, where you put your hands on the board and like you go in from plank to downward dog, it shifted my control and my awareness of my body. I noticed that like the amount of pressure that I put on my palms shifted and changed as I switched positions, and I wasn't doing it this kind of movement wasn't to gain attention. It was more to gain control, but also to gain like awareness and like a willingness to work with my own body. So I remember being like, wow, like I can move from plank to downward dog and put the exact amount of pressure on this board in order to get like the desired result, which I think you had to like have a certain amount of pressure points in order to get to like that, oh, you've done this pose correctly. And I remember that being like, wow, like this is the time where I felt like my body movement was in my control, but also it had a positive, purposeful experience instead of a forced experience, which is what it felt like when I had taken PE classes and other types of required movement, like going into tennis when I was in high school. I felt like that was the one time I could be in very steady, slow, controlled movement that was up to me and not up to somebody else. So that's what my kinesthetic awareness moment was.